I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. A man has not the time to spend half his life in quarrels. I know of nothing so pleasant to the mind, as the discovery of anything which is at once new and valuable, nothing which so lightens and sweetens toil, as the hopeful pursuit of such discovery. May the Almighty grant that the cause of truth, justice, and humanity shall in no wise suffer at my hands. And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. If any man ceases to attack me, I never remember the past against him. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. I am growing old enough not to care much for the manner of doing things. This too shall pass. God must have loved the plain people, He made so many of them. The more sects we have the better. They are all getting somebody in, to the church, that the others could not, and even with the numerous divisions we are all doing tolerably well. The money powers prey upon the nation in times of peace and conspire against it in times of adversity. It is more despotic than a monarchy, more insolent than autocracy, and more selfish than bureaucracy. It denounces as public enemies all who question its methods or throw light upon its crimes. As a result of the war, corporations have been enthroned, an era of corruption in high places will follow, and the money powers of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until all wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed. The candid citizen must confess that if the policy of the government upon vital questions affecting the whole people is to be irrevocably fixed by decisions of the Supreme Court, the instant they are made an ordinary litigation between parties and personal actions, the people will have ceased to be their own rulers, having to that extent practically resigned their government into the hands of that eminent tribunal. These communities, by their representatives in old Independence Hall, said to the whole world of men, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness." This was their majestic interpretation of the economy of the universe. This was their lofty, wise, and noble understanding of the justice of the Creator to His creatures. Yes, gentlemen, to all His creatures, to the whole great family of man. In their enlightened belief, nothing stamped with the divine image and likeness was sent into the world to be trodden on, degraded, and imbruted by its fellows. They grasped not only the whole race of man then living, but they reached forward and seized upon the farthest posterity. They erected a beacon to guide their children and their children's children, and the countless myriads who should inhabit the earth in other ages. Why, statesmen as they were, they knew the tendency of prosperity to breed tyrants, and so they established these great self-evident truths, that when in the distant future some man, some faction, some interest, should set up the doctrine that none but rich men, or none but white men, we're entitled to life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, their posterity might look up again to the Declaration of Independence and take courage to renew the battle which their fathers began, so that truth, and justice, and mercy, and all the humane and Christian virtues might not be extinguished from the land, so that no man would hereafter dare to limit and circumscribe the great principles on which the Temple of Liberty was being built. Once said that his political adversary dived down deeper into the sea of knowledge and came up drier than any other man he knew. When you have succeeded in dehumanizing the Negro, when you have put him down, are you quite sure that the demon you have roused will not turn and rend you? If you want to test a man's character, give him power. All I can do is the best I can do. If the end brings me out all right, what is said against me won't amount to anything. If the end brings me out wrong, then 10 angels swearing I was right would make no difference. Let us, therefore, study the incidents, and this is philosophy, to learn wisdom from, and none of them as wrongs to be avenged. He is not my equal in many respects, but in his right to enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, in his right to put into his mouth the bread that his hands have earned, He is my equal.